So my name is Rabbi Corey Yetkin, and I'm the Director of Jewish Life and Chaplain to the University at Chapman University. And Shalom means to me a sense of contentment and peace. The word Shalom comes from the root Shalem, which is the Shin, Lamed, and Mem in Hebrew, which means wholeness and completeness, and it also means contentness and fulfillment. So the word Shalom in terms of relationship, when people speak to one another, I think it's recognizing that the other person is created in the divine image of God and that we need to respect that. I think when we are engaged in conflict or in chaos, what the Bible refers to as tohu vavohu, the chaos before the world was formed, that it's this idea of stepping back a little bit and finding where we are, what is our peace before we can engage in conflict. Because if we're not peaceful with our position and being willing to be discomforted, to acknowledge another person's view, then we're never really going to truly be able to work together for peace. We'll be working in our own little bubbles and not really working together. So for me, Shalom is that feeling that you get, that deep breath that you take when all is right in your world, and that feeling of contentment and just being at peace with yourself.
Today's story is only part of the story. Jacob and Esau are fighting from the very beginning. The family narrative is that they were pushing and shoving even in the womb, with Jacob grabbing at Esau's heel as they were born. From the very first day, the story is about Jacob trying to get ahead of Esau. All stories come from somewhere. Maybe it's from their parents, suggesting that Rebecca may have had concerns about the status quo from early in her children's lives, or that she had issue with the cultural norms in general. Maybe the stories come from the generation that follows, passing on a metaphor about ridiculous family quarrels. However the story originates, it is ripe with conflict and oozing with manipulation. We can see the power dynamics and relationships on full display. Using the power available to them, parents play favorites. Tradition and power are challenged, and eventually Jacob, the second-born, pushes past Esau, the firstborn, for the top spot in their lifelong rivalry. It is difficult to imagine more layers of hurt, betrayal, anger, and manipulation beyond these shared in Genesis. Even siblings with a good relationship have conflict. The depth of this family's fractures invites us to look at what is required for reconciliation and peacemaking, and remember that at our core, we desire such peace. In the end, the brothers do reconcile, but Jacob is still aloof and goes his own way from Esau. Reconciliation does not eliminate the potential of future conflict. The descendants of Esau, called the Edomites, will have many generations of conflict with those in Jerusalem. Maybe these stories arose as a foreshadowing, an attempt to explain the tension between these neighbors, and maybe to help explain where the conflicts originated. Sadly, not enough was learned from the story to heal the wounds. Shalom is a traditional greeting and sending out in the Jewish community, and it seems to be missing in this story. Imagine each chapter of the brothers' lives, each coming and going, and insert the word shalom. Does it make sense? Can you imagine either wishing the other peace at the various twists and runs of their relationships? When in the story, can you imagine the characters claiming to have peace within? While this passage upon first look is about two brothers and a father, it's important that we pay close attention to the roles of people who are regulated in the background. For example, we hear in verse 5 of today's reading, "Now Rebecca was listening." The Bible and our lives are full of people who have operated in the shadows to bring about resolutions or allow change. In today's movements for justice, look beyond the public faces for the faithful voices behind the scenes, setting the table for conflicts to be resolved peacefully. In more intimate settings, we have to remember our own role. The peace we share can have a profound impact, and the peace we refuse to accept or fail to give can lead to broken relationships. Our relationships today can have generational impact. We can be the source of great inspiration and healing, or we can perpetuate cycles of brokenness. Shalom is always in our hands.